This bad boy could fit so many Instagram likes in it. Today, we're going to be looking at a 1995 Nissan 240SX with the Rocket Bunny, Greddy Rocket Bunny if you will, Boss version 2 body kit. What is a Boss version 2 body kit, you might be asking yourself, or you're Googling it. Well, let me tell you. Basically takes an S14 Nissan and it changes from about the dashboard forward, so you get this retro muscle car look. It also wide bodies out the back with some big fender flares. You're also going to get this little ducktail wing and some other little subtle changes here and there. I'd like to talk about this car. It's my personal car. It's a pretty unique car. I think when you see this thing on the road, it really turns a lot of heads. So, if you notice, the front has this pseudo Camaro Challenger look to it, and that's kind of what the kit was supposed to look like. Now, we've made some different changes. Usually you'll find the front mount intercooler set back. This one we've cut out and brought it out a little forward just for a bit more of an aggressiveness, if you will. I think it looks great. I think it's awesome. It's got those Aeromotive or whatever the hell you call those hood pins, you know, latch release quick boys. You know, fun little grills. Instead, big front mount. One of the things I don't too much care about is they use these kind of cheap headlights, and they're a little hard to find a set. I really want a projector set, and I haven't been able to find one that fits in perfectly into the housing behind it where things don't look a little off. So right now I'm on LED lights, but I'd like to go projector. I think that would have a much better look. This paint is custom to this car. It's almost supposed to look like a GTR color. It just has a little more pearlescent in it. Oh, and loads of orange peel. So much orange peel. Taking a look at the side of this Rocket Bunny Nissan, you'll notice we have fender flares here. You'll also notice we've got a semi-wide tire. Not quite wide enough. You know, go ahead in the comments and post about how the stance doesn't look right and the fitment isn't correct. But if you own the car, you'd have those right three-piece wheels that just tuck up under there perfectly. If we go to the front, it looks perfect. The front isn't a fender flare, it's the entire fender molded, and then these screws are just in there to match the decoration. So we've got some Bordeauxan single-piece wheels on here. That's a Facebook Marketplace special. If you don't believe me, you'll notice there's a dent in one of the wheels. That's why I got them so cheap. You barely notice a dent. You know, over 65 it shakes a lot, but over 85 it stops shaking. Is that really a problem? Not much else is done. There isn't really a side skirt on this car per se. The mirrors are painted a black to kind of match some of the black accents. You'll notice there's no window trim on this. It's not that easy to get these rubber pieces. Is this a sunroof optioned car? So this car has had a Z32 brake conversion. So it is running those 300ZX brakes, front and back. Wish I'd done a little more research than just listening to my expert friends, because then I'd know that you were supposed to have left the rear brakes, because there's no difference between the Z32 and this, and you'd still have an e-brake. Now I don't have an e-brake. But hey, the caliper's red, and it's all about those clout points. Isn't that right, Dewey? So around back, you know, we've got this pretty neat duckbill wing thing, if you want to call it. You know, this spoiler kind of looks like a NASCAR. Some of these cars don't have a rear bumper and then they paint it. I'm kind of a big fan of leaving the bumper on, personally, myself. We've got a toucan muffler system. I don't remember the brand. I do know it's authentic. It's not the eBay version. Juan, what's the brand? Do you remember? It wasn't Greddy.
JDM Power.
Yeah, JDM Power. You know, one of my favorite parts, if I can show you, in this car, as we find the keys. one of my favorite parts is the entire chassis has been coated. So this was a frame-off restored car. So the entire chassis was coated in this really cool gray paint. So, you know, it's just kind of neat. Somebody took the time before me to really make sure everything's care. We've got that Optima battery, you know, race car things. You know, no spare, who needs that? LED rear taillights, you know, just to add that little bit of brightness. That Gretty license plate cover, so the kids know. Yeah. So, let's pop the hood. All right, so let's see what's under this old girl here. Now, one of the first things you'll notice if you were to ever pick up one of these cars yourself is there is no hood prop. So I'll be holding this up the whole time. This is an SR20 DET swapped car, blacktop. This is actually an S14 motor and transmission. In Juco Racing, I believe they're in Orlando, did this entire swap and wiring harness, rebuilt turbo, their intake. It's a lot of their parts. A couple of things that are on here. There is the oil filter relocation, but that's not done being installed yet. There's a Zephyr Hills bottle for the coolant overflow. Because the coolant overflow that I have for this car, I just haven't installed yet. So, you know, I think this works good enough for now. You know, we've got the strut bar by Megan Racing. You know, they're sponsoring us in the form of me buying it on eBay. Yeah, so I think, I don't know what an SR20 DET and a blacktop out of an S13 makes. I don't know, 300 horsepower, 250, 180, I don't know. There we go.
Good enough.
Good enough. So it does have this ISIS radiator. You know, back before Trump got rid of ISIS, there's their radiator. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to point out here. If you're curious, this thing just comes off, but we've got this little handmade shroud, so there's a little protector there. Remember, kids, protection. An official HKS, that's a legit HKS blow-off valve. So now we're inside the S14 Rocket Bunny. Thought we'd just talk about some of the, you know, what it's like to own one of these cars. So, it's pretty neat. It is kind of, you know, the parts are fiberglass and they're okay quality. They're not perfect, which I think you kind of just see out of any fiberglass kit. So I think your fitment on some parts is okay. I've seen much worse cars, but it's not bad. The other problem is everything just kind of rattles a little. Now, as I stated before, this car, everything was taken out of it so they could paint the chassis. So that did mean they did take the dashboard and everything out. So when they took the dashboard to restore the car out, they did flock it. I think that's the right word. I'm not personally a big fan of it because I think in bright light, such as today, you see everything. It's very linty. It's a very linty boy, is what the kids would say. So I'm personally not a big fan. Also, this car didn't have door panels when I bought it. There's like these Drift Boy plastic pieces that were covering parts of the metal. So I got an actual good boy OEM quality. They rattle, but they also don't match, so people get upset about that. The Sparco steering wheel, it works, but it falls out all the time. You know, I think there's a spring, just clips in, but it falls out. You know, the steering wobbles a little. I'm really not selling this car well. So the Rocket Bunny is one of the best cars you'll ever own in your entire life. If you were ever to come across the one on eBay, it'd probably be the only one you'd ever find, and you're going to want to put a max bid on it. You're going to just throw all your money at it. You're going to go to the bank, and you're going to say, can I get a personal loan? And can my wife get a personal loan? And this is our child. I know he's 7, but he has a social security number. Can he get a personal loan? And you don't want to just buy this car. That's what you're going to want to do. This car has working AC. That's pretty unusual to find for a 240 of this era. We've got some Pro Sport gauges, got some squeaky belts, you know. The seating position is interesting in this car. So these are fixed actual Sparco seats. So you know they're not on sliders, so you're kind of just where you're at, but fortunately enough this is a good seating position. Authentic Sparco steering wheel here too. You got this flat bottom. You know it's got a nice feel. It's small in diameter too, which is pretty nice. Another interesting factoid about this particular car is so it's an S13 drivetrain, swapped it to an S14 car. The speedometer, so the speed sensor that goes into the transmission, they're using an S13, but it's hooked up to an S14 gauge, so it reads double. So about when you're doing 50, it says you're doing 100, I think. That's roughly where my math has been. So it has actual back seats. They haven't been deleted, you know. We didn't get rid of them to go drifting. It does not have windshield washer sprayers. That kind of sucks. If you can see out this window, you wouldn't be able to see because it's full of pollen. Mainly because I leave this outside. I don't park it in a garage. That's the kind of man I am. Oh, yeah, so I guess we'll just factoid a little bit of it. Let's get hit by a Mercury. Hey, thanks, man. Look at that guy. He was so f***ing excited. Look at that. We brought joy to his life. He was like, you know what? All day I've been welding, and now I finally get to see this old Camaro. Finding parts is a little bit of a pain. Like I had mentioned the headlights when we were looking at the outside. That's kind of a difficult thing, just because it is a custom car. The other thing are wheels. Boy, they don't tell you when you can fit like a 13-inch wide wheel in the back. It's expensive. You gotta contact wheel companies and like give them math. You gotta do math, and then you've got to order these custom 3-piece wheels from them, and then they tell you, well, I hope your math is right, because if it isn't, you can't return those wheels. So then you're like, well, I just spent $6,000 on these wheels, and they don't fit my car, because I don't know math. You got offsets, and you got to figure this out, and then you can go join a group, like an official wheel or something on Facebook, and then it's dudes that are like, hey, I know what I got. Hey, I know what I got. I bought these for my GLI. No, I know what I got. It's $10,000. It's so expensive. I mean, they might be. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying, it's not. You're not going to come across the fitment wheel that you need to perfectly fill the back. We'll put in the description what the OEM specs are required for this car, because it took me a while to find it personally. So I'm gonna put that down there, so if you've got yourself a Rocket Bunny, like you just went on eBay and there just happened to be a Warren's Rocket Bunny listed, and you're like, oh shit, but this guy didn't put the right wheels on it. I'll put the right wheels on it. We'll help you by giving you the specs. Just give us a like. Just one like, and then search eBay. So, one thing that I'll tell you about owning a Rocket Bunny, you scrape on everything. So, that's the 240SX Rocket Bunny. If you'd like to get one of these amazing SpeedQuest shirts, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment below, and maybe we'll send one to you, or maybe you can buy one. Something will happen. Some wares will transfer hands, and you'll have a shirt. Check out our giveaways. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Facebook page. Check out all our social medias. Check out our MySpace page. Check out our Friendster. Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be washing the Rocket Bunny before we head out to the track tonight. Got some drift footage we're going to be shooting here. We're going to be down there with Alex LV.